Did you know that Inside Out is packed with details, curiosities, and eerie theories? For instance, have you ever noticed that the flower on Bing Bong's outfit, Riley's former imaginary friend, has the exact same colors as the emotion that star in the movie? The joy's yellow, anger's red, disgust's green, fear's purple, and sadness is blue. Well, even we didn't notice it the first time we watched the movie, but we watched it again just to find the biggest curiosities and details hidden in Inside Out just to show them to you. When Riley and her parents are crossing the country to move to San Francisco, it's a quick scene, but you can spot a group of birds perched on the power lines. These birds are the same ones from Pixar's short film, For the Birds, released in 2000. Pete Docter, the director and screenwriter of Inside Out, mentioned in an interview that his inspiration for the original idea of the animated film came from his own daughter. As she grew up, he noticed how her mood was changing and started imagining how the gears inside her little head would work. I have to say, his inspiration was wonderful, as this movie is really cool. Speaking of Pete Docter, he is considered one of the most profitable directors in Pixar's history. The guy has an impressive list of films he directed: Monsters, Inc., Up, Inside Out, and Soul. Besides, he wrote the screenplay for Wall-E. Talk about success! Well, except for Soul, but let's cut him some slack since it's not a bad movie and it was released during the pandemic.
Is this heaven?
No, it's the great before. This is where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth.
For all these contributions and for filling Disney Pixar's pockets with money from these box office hits, he got a promotion and is now nothing less than the boss at Pixar. Nothing gets approved there without his authorization. He's got some serious influence now. If you pause the movie during the scene where the emotions are competing for space on the control panel and look closely, you'll notice the Mickey symbol formed by the buttons on the control panel. Coincidence? Definitely not. In the original version of the film, it wasn't sadness who would accompany Joy on her journey back to their home base, but fear. However, the production team felt that the story wasn't strong enough. They started feeling sad because they thought the movie might be canceled and they would lose their jobs. That's when Pete Docter, the director, realized that sadness was the answer they were looking for. So they rewrote the script just the way we know it, and the film got approved and became a total success.
We'll just have to go the long way. Yeah, the long way.
When Riley is chatting with her friend on the computer, there's a list of her friends' names next to it. One of them is called Doc Pete, a reference to the name of the film's director, Pete Docter. Besides having a different script, originally there were many more emotions planned. In fact, the original idea was to have over 20 of them. Emotions like love, greed, hope, envy, and others were considered. However, the production team decided to narrow it down to 5 because it would be easier to work with. But who knows, maybe new emotions will appear in Inside Out too. Like passion, right?
Who the heck is that?
Imaginary boyfriend.
I would die for Riley.
Oh, I've never seen him before.
I live in Canada.
At various moments, it became clear to those who paid close attention that the only character in the film without a shadow is Joy. Many started theorizing that she may be a vampire, a villain, or something like that, but that's not the case. The production team explained that she doesn't have a shadow because she's the most radiant character in the film. I think they just forgot to add her shadow in the editing. Speaking of Joy being radiant, her character design was inspired by a star, which is why she truly shines wherever she goes. Literally. It really suits the emotion of Joy, doesn't it? You can see that her colors truly stand out from all the others. Besides Joy, each of the other 4 emotions was also inspired by something. For example, anger was inspired by a brick, fear by a nerve, disgust by a broccoli, and sadness by a tear. We still have more curiosities to share, and if you, just like us, are excited to watch the new Inside Out movie, comment hashtag Inside Out 2 below. By the way, to wrap up the curiosities about Joy, initially, the idea was for her to represent optimism, not joy, but the team realized that optimism felt more like a wish rather than an emotion, so they changed it to joy, which turned out much better. As always, the famous A113 couldn't be missing in Inside Out since it's a Disney Pixar movie. We can see it when Riley is walking, and there's a graffiti behind her with the combination of letters and numbers from the famous art school of Pixar animators.
Oh, this is terrible. Wait, is that someone walking towards us? Yep, let's cross the street.
When sadness and joy are with Bing Bong in Imagination Land, trying to get back to the headquarters of emotions, you can see a game called Find Me, and Nemo from Finding Nemo is printed on the game box. A very cool cross-reference. In Imagination Land, we find another cool thing. In a card castle there, if you look closely, you'll notice that the faces of Riley's family are on the cards. The father is represented as the king, the mother is the queen, and Riley is the jack. Neat, right? Another cross-reference from another Pixar film that our keen eyes noticed is Colette, the same one from Ratatouille. She appears on the cover of a magazine in the living room while we see Riley playing. This reinforces the old theory that all Pixar films actually take place in the same universe. Speaking of Ratatouille, another character appears in the film. Well, kind of. Let me explain. When Riley has a nightmare of how terrible her new house would be, many characters seen in it are actually recycled from other movies. For example, the little mouse is one version of Remy, the main character from Ratatouille. The bear was taken from Brave, and the dancing pizzas have the arms of Mr. Potato Head from Toy Story. Speaking of reusing items from other films, in the scene where Riley's family is sitting down to eat Chinese takeout, there's an item that has appeared in several other Pixar movies, the Chinese takeout box. It appeared in A Bug's Life, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and Ratatouille. Speaking of Toy Story, there's a girl in Riley's class wearing a skull t-shirt identical to Sid's, the mischievous boy who liked to destroy toys in Toy Story. The colors are swapped though, with the background of the shirt being light and the skull being dark, but there's no denying that the design is the same. The Chinese takeout box isn't the only omnipresent item in Pixar movies. We also have the yellow ball. We see the yellow ball when little Riley is running through the house. It's right next to the bookshelf, leaning against the wall. It has appeared in several other Pixar films, quite a few indeed.
I went to all of your concerts.
Yeah, I blow a mean nose.
Watching you play tag was such a treat.
Two-time world champ.
Another object seen in Inside Out that is part of another film is a boot that Bing Bong takes out of his bag. We can see the same boot in Wall-E, the one with the little plant of hope. The detail is that Wall-E was released 7 years earlier in 2008 and was written by Pete Docter, the director and screenwriter of Inside Out. All these appearances, both of characters and items from other films, only reinforce the fans' theory that all Pixar films take place in the same reality. For example, in Finding Dory, released the following year, there are several children from Riley's class at the aquarium, seemingly on a school visit. Since Inside Out was released earlier, we can say that maybe Riley herself was there too, right? Don't worry, Bing Bong doesn't exist in the real world, but he was created in the real world. Let me explain. The design of Riley's imaginary friend was inspired by a drawing from a 7-year-old girl who is the daughter of Inside Out's director of photography, Kim White. And it ended up being the same drawing that the team used to show that Riley had drawn on the wall. Another idea that was initially created for the film but later abandoned was one in which Bing Bong would introduce Joy to other imaginary friends of Riley's who were also forgotten, just like him. They would meet Joy and think she was just another imaginary friend, like all of them. Those were the 24 amazing curiosities we gathered from Inside Out for you. Comment down below if you had noticed some of them already. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos. Until next time, bye-bye!